What's up, man?
How you doing, brother?
Thanks for coming by.
Appreciate it, man.
Dude, it was funny. You know how you emailed me yesterday about 7 p.m.? So I've never used calendar link before, and I didn't realize I have to lock in the time zone.
Okay.
Dude, you weren't the only one. Like, it would like be bouncing around, and I finally figured out what was wrong with it.
I was cool with it. I'm like, dang, 7 to 8. We're gonna turn up after.
Someone thought it was like 11 p.m. at night. I'm like, no. He's like, because I was like, where are you? And he's like, it's 11 tonight. I was like, no, it's 11 this morning. He's like, oh, I thought we were just doing like a late night sesh. I'm like, no, like
Hey,
this isn't a recording studio, dude.
No, it's all good, man.
Thanks, man. So why don't you tell people who you are, man?
Yeah, so I'm Sam Santacruz. I was raised in Riverside.
First off, is that your full actual name?
Samuel Santacruz.
Dude, that's a great name. That's like
Samuel Vincent Santacruz. I'll even give you the government name.
Dude, that's like that's a flow name. That's the one thing I hate about real estate. My name's Adam Swartz with no T. So like people always put T's in there. I'm like, I should just change my name to Black.
Yeah,
should make it simple. Continue. Sorry, that's a great name.
Yeah, no, Samuel Santacruz. Raised in Riverside, out in Orlando, and worked in the area like 19 years. Well, worked in the legal field, I should say, for about like 19 years. Started in the mailroom, worked my way up, got into administration. Bounced out of like the traditional law firm thing, and now I'm doing like legal marketing and like contract paralegal work.
Yeah, it's how we were talking before the podcast. Like, it's marketing is so difficult nowadays because there's so many platforms and so many directions to go. Like, it's almost like the hardest thing to do now because like, where do you focus? Do you focus print? Do you focus calling? Do you focus social media, Google paid ads? Like, what's the new platform? Like, everyone has to be on TikTok all of a sudden. You know what I mean?
I think that's where it's going, and kind of like in large part we were talking about like. With the attorney marketing, like I said, I'll just come out and say it. It's been horrendous. Like if I hurt anybody's feelings by that, I'm sorry to say it. Attorneys are busy. I get it, right? They have a full calendar. They're trying to retain new clients. They're trying to work their cases. They have time-sensitive mail. So I get it. But by and large right now, dude, it's still like a lot of print. A lot of buses. You're still doing billboards.
This show is sponsored by Resilient Real Estate Group, powered by EXP. So, you're thinking about buying and selling soon? Yes, we know you probably know a realtor, your mom's best friend's cousin's neighbor who puts her face on the local shopping cart. But you know what? Our friends at Resilient Real Estate Group have helped hundreds of thousands of people sell houses over the years, and they definitely know what they're doing based on their 5-star review on Google and Zillow. So, it doesn't matter if you're looking to buy $1 million house or a fixer-upper, make sure the next time you're thinking about buying and selling real estate, you give our friends a call over at Resilient Real Estate Group. And now we're back to the show. And those things aren't cheap. I did billboards like 5 years ago, dude. They are not a cheap thing to do. Like, they're very expensive. Like, the cheapest, I think we were like $1,500 a month, and we had to buy 3 at one time or something to get that price. And then like you have to then pay for the print, and dude, it's expensive to do that stuff.
Yeah, I've never worked with an attorney who's actually done it. I just have heard through the grapevines like how expensive it is, and I don't know what kind of return you get. I can see it working for like branding, right? Like you have attorneys out there who just are everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they're doing like SEO, they're doing like paid per click, they're doing billboards. So, but I really see now because like if you're an attorney, the youngest attorney right now probably was born somewhere around 1996. So I'm really
26 years
26
old.
years old or so. Yeah. So you do like your 4 year, and then you do like another 3 years, so 7 years out of high school, 25, 26, maybe 27. So I think we're on a day and age where it's like it's gonna like they're coming. Like right now, like the middle age attorneys, and I'm not gonna say that what middle age is. I don't hurt nobody's feelings. But the middle age attorney, they're still bringing in ad agencies. I think they're still doing a lot of print. But by and large, I think these young guys, they're gonna be coming, and it's gonna really turn into a day and age where it's just gonna basically be TikTok, IG, maybe Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook is brutal, dude. I think that's the hard part. Is like it's so crazy to see a platform like Facebook, like totally as smart as everyone says they are there. And yes, they're very, very smart people, but like they have literally like crashed their own platform. Like everyone hates it.
Yeah.
Like no one goes on there anymore. It's like what you're obviously not doing. The new algorithm is so terrible.
Right.
It's like. I mean, I get you got to pay to play.
Yeah.
Like, I understand that game, but, like, can I get some organic reach?
Yeah.
Something?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's crazy, dude.
Yeah, I think a lot of it, like you said, has to do with the algorithm. The layout is really difficult. I don't know who's using desktop too much these days. I'm sure, like, if you work in an office every day, like, obviously, if I'm at the office, I do have, like, I am logged into my Facebook account on my desktop. I am logged into my social media accounts. But as far as, like, the mobile application, dude, like, it's
the only thing worse is LinkedIn.
I never even messed with it.
Dude, LinkedIn, I hate LinkedIn so much. And I pulled some great clients out of LinkedIn because they're like very professional and they know what's up. The hard part about it is like, it's just such a slow, awkward platform that like makes no sense. And you just get a million DMs like, hey, I'd love to meet with you to do. And you're like, I don't even know what you do. Like,
I was going to ask you about that too, because with the real estate thing, like I see a lot of, I don't know if it's like business to business, but I just see like the community of real estate, at least through social media. Some real estate pages, like they put out great content. Like you put out, like I just started following you.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I was like, man, this is a really cool layout how you have your Instagram. But what I was asking is like, I see a lot of like real estate agents following other real estate agents. Is there like, I don't know if it's like secret information.
No.
But
no, the hard part, I honestly have no idea why people do it.
Okay.
I really, like personally for me, I don't do it unless you're a page where I might steal stuff from you. That's maybe the only thing where I'm like, okay, I'm going to follow you because you post content that I kind of want to steal, or maybe we're friends. And that's the other thing too, is like people don't get it, is like they'll go to tons of networking events, or they'll go to a big conference, and then they'll just like follow everyone that's at those events, and then they don't ever go out and get like client people to follow. Like I made it off social. So for me, it's like, great, you have tons of agents, all right. And other agents too, like maybe if they're out of area, then you maybe get referral business. But like that is such a small number of deals. I just think that they just have. I just think they put your number in your phone, then you go on Instagram and like, oh, someone you know, and they click on it. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, it might be. I was just always curious about that because I'll follow like a real estate, or because they'll post houses and I'm like, hey, that's a cool looking house, like they'll post things that are cool and like the motivational stuff. I'd rather like my timeline be filled with something like that, positivity and motivation and stuff. But
my issue is this: is like the platform is like, it goes back to probably like what you do with lawyers, what I do with realtors. It's like the 71% of people go to social media for their news now. And that's why, if you notice, we drop 2 news videos a week, because it's like, obviously people come to these platforms based on the stats to get news. The odds of them coming to a platform, Instagram, and being able and seeing a house that you post and you liking, and then them buying that house is so slim to none.
Oh, for
like,
sure.
It's such a slim number, but that's all they post, because the news video takes a little bit more work, takes a little bit more knowledge, takes a little bit more putting yourself up. I mean, my best video on my news channel is like 20-something thousand views, and it's like 20 or 30 like "you're an idiot" comments, like you have no idea what you're talking about, and I'm like, I don't care. But the funny thing is, like, you're boosting that video to get to 20,000 views by talking the 20 people that don't think my video is good. That's 1% of the
video. Tell me you don't like it twice. That way I get double the comment.
Well, that's why people go like, why do you always comment back? I'm like, because I want them to comment back again. I'm hoping I'll write something that I want to write something that will stump them, but also maybe get them to write back again, and then I'll write back to them. It's funny that people still have not understand the process or the algorithm of social media. It's like you try to talk to people about it. It's like, it's very common sense. Yeah. And they just like, what are you talking about? It's like, you post something, then you have tons of people go like it, share, comment it, and then the algorithm goes, oh, more people want to see this post, and then they send it to more people. Yeah. That is it.
It's pretty simplistic, and like and there's that large body of people who just like, dude, they see something, they get triggered by it, and like it gets them in an uproar, but they don't understand like that's actually an angle. Right?
Yes.
I'm actually trying to create not confrontation, but it sells. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the issue with social. That's what people don't get. Is like the reason why it's so like extreme, because that's the only way you create noise. Yeah. And if your goal is views and you have ad revenue on that video or whatever, unless I put something in the thumbnail or I make some crazy statement, like, then it won't get the views. No. We're our own worst enemies as the people on the platforms. You know what I mean?
It's like if you post like something give it your all, or a motivational quote, they'll see it, but they're gonna tap right through it too. If you prompt something about like parenting or divorce, or something with a little bit like a cinematic flair to it, that's really where you're gonna get your engagement from. And I'm not gonna say people fall suspect to it, because I'm out here too. I'll see something, I might drop a comment every once in a while, not too much, but I'll drop a comment every once in a while. But with the attorneys, a lot of them do follow each other. I think comparatively to what you're saying, it is a little bit better for them, because you have different sectors of law, right?
Yeah, so you can't do everything.
You can't do everything. So I'll let the cat out of the bag. Like, most firms that advertise for multi-service, like multi-sector of law, attorney representation, don't actually practice all those sectors of law.
They just feed it up, referral it out.
Feed it off, yeah. So it's better to, like, if you're an attorney who does bankruptcy and you put, personal injury, like, even if you don't do personal injury, if you get a lead, and referral, you're going to shoot it off. So I see a lot of, like, B2B, like business to business or F to F, like firm to firm type of thing. So it makes sense for that. But I was just always curious about that.
No, that's the other thing too, is like, it matters what kind of angle you are working too. Like, if you want to attract agents to come work for you, then that's another angle to have. And that's a whole nother space that people don't process. That there's a lot of people are at a point in their career where, like, their whole job is just to go get agents to work in their company now.
Really?
That's it. Because that's where they make all their money now.
Would you like call it like a recruiter?
Yeah, like a recruiter. But like the thing that we've noticed now is, like, I work in a company, it's called EXP, and like people call it a pyramid scheme, because like if I brought you in, I would get a small percentage of your deal, and then I would get anyone you brought in 7 levels down. The hard part about it is, what people don't get is, like, if you do 0 deals, I make 0 money. And so what we're seeing create now in this space is that these big organizations, like my organization is like 10,000 people, and they just provides like Monday masterminds where it's like people doing $700 million to $1 billion in sales and 800 people on one call, and I can ask any question and someone will answer it. We're starting to see the Keller Williams, the old boxes, like, not being able to compete with that.
Okay.
Because it's like, why am I going to make an energy?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh, you're cool, man. Why am I going to work so hard to bring in an agent and then teach him how to sell and do all these things, and I'm not even getting any of the piece of it? Why would I? Like, if I worked at Century 21 and someone came and worked there, unless they worked underneath my team and I structured a deal, maybe they just came there because they see me on Instagram, they like me, and they want to be in my same office. I don't make a dime off of that.
Okay.
But you're the only reason that person came here was because of me. And so we're starting to see these massive organizations with the greatest training, and you're body to body with agents doing everything that you want to do that normally would cost you thousands of dollars to coach with. You just now are in a group with them, and you're all part of the same group. So that's kind of the new wave of business now.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, and I think a lot like I'm not sure if it's like so much like networking, but it's always like success comes in numbers. You know what I mean? In more ways than one.
Exactly. So what made you finally make the jump into marketing for lawyers?
I just had like a oh damn moment, because organically, like, and it's a gray area, and a lot of people are afraid to talk about it. I'm not, but if you're a paralegal, or if you're a secretary, if you're a file clerk, who cares?
Yeah. And
you work for a plaintiff law attorney, and you're bringing in cases, like, on the surface, like, according to like the codes, like, you're not supposed to share attorney's fees with non-attorneys. And I've never had that.
Same thing with real estate too.
Yeah, and I've never had that, but I'm not going to insult anybody's intelligence. And I've talked to judges about this stuff. I'm going to insult anybody's intelligence. If you have a paralegal that brings you 24 cases, 25 cases, 30 cases a year, 50 cases a year, you're going to find ways,
of course.
And a lot of the times too, when I've talked to judges about it, they're like, well, you have to remember this, like, if you have a paralegal, or if you have a secretary, if you have somebody in your office and they're outside of the office and they bring you a case, you should be compensating them for that time. So it depends. You can create an angle with anything. Yeah. So what happened is that, I work, like I said, I was in the mailroom. I was a delinquent of a kid. I was in out of the halls.
What school did you go to?
I would have went to Norte Vista, but the way my criminal career was set up, I didn't really make it that far. So I ended up at Albert Continuation.
Yeah.
And then I was there for I was like 15 and a half. For whatever reason, my sister, God bless her heart, she was working at a firm here in Riverside off like Iowa and Spruce, or Iowa, somewhere over there. Mm-hmm. And she ended up getting me a job. She was like, I think you should work here. You might be getting a little bit of trouble. You're a smart kid, blah, blah, blah. And the attorneys were cool with it. They're like, yeah, troublesome kid. We'll take it. We'll have fun with this.
Yeah, nothing new for them.
No, we're good with it. So got my work permit. Anyways, I ended up working all the way up. I had like 2 oh damn moments in my career. One was in my early 20s, because when I started working in law, it was a job. Like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I lost my dad really young at 16. My mom gave me the boot right after that because I was getting in trouble. So I just needed a job. And so I treated the law firm job just as that until I was like in my early 20s. And then I started finding out how much secretaries were making. And I started finding out how much paralegals were making. Then I went back to school.
Yeah.
So anyways, I climbed all the way to the top and I started getting into firm administration and like consulting with attorneys on how to start law firms. Because attorneys, when they pass the bar and they open, and if they want to go out on their own, you might know the law, but as far as running the administration of a law firm, it's a science within itself, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's a whole different gig.
Whole different gig, right? So it's like calendaring, it's document production, it's data entry, a lot of stuff that they don't know. So I started shifting like my gears like in my mid-20s into like, okay, I want to start running firms because I see that there's like a little bit of an, I don't want to say age gap, but generation gap between where technology is at and where these attorneys are at. So I was like, here's an opportunity for me to close the gap.
Yeah.
You know, so I started doing that. And a friend of mine and I, about 6 years ago, we opened up a law firm in Orange County and we killed it. Like it took off. I just left there this year for the marketing company.
Yeah.
Because I was realizing, I'm like, look, we met with so many marketing guys, like so many SEO guys.
Oh, dude.
And they were all saying the same thing. Like it was like, we're going to get you, 20 leads in a month.
I hate SEO so much.
Dude, it's a pain. So I started using some of these meetings, and I feel bad, to a sense, because I don't want to waste these guys' time. But I was calling them out because they're the ones that will call for the meetings. I'm like, I'll meet with you.
Yeah.
So they call for these meetings, and I started prompting questions. I'm like, hey, if you guys had a little bit more of legal knowledge of what people are Googling, or whatever, like, would that help you guys out? And they're like, well, yeah, for sure. I'm like, okay, cool, bet.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I'm going to go, create my own marketing company and bring my own SEO guys. So that was like this year. Because I was like, I'm bringing in cases organically just through being from Riverside, just being from the IE and networking. And I was making more than self-sufficient money, but I was married to the firm. Like I was there all day, every day. So I'm like, dude, I'm going to take, what I've earned. I'm going to convert the label from savings to capital.
Yeah.
Go start a
Let's
bomb.
just slide that.
Just identify it differently. And I started Litigation, which is the name of my company. And it's been going well. So it was just kind of like, instead of bringing cases into this firm, I'm just going to go out and take the science of marketing, combine it with the science of law firm administration. And we've been killing it, honestly.
So do you sell leads, or do you go to companies and say, hey, we'll take over your marketing?
Most of the time when we go out there and we're kind of exclusive about who we even offer it to, because the information is really proprietary, right? Because we tested it out first. It wasn't like I was like, I know this is going to work. I brought in an SEO guy, I brought in a marketing guy, and we started doing some soft tests. So we're kind of exclusive about who we even offer it to. So it's kind of nice because the proof is in the statistics.
For sure.
So when we go out there, it's more like, do we want to work with you, and how are we going to work out?
Well, the issue is what people don't understand is, like, if you don't have the systems in place to close the leads that come in, then the numbers look bad on you, which then affects the business. Yeah. And that's why I hate SEO, because I get a million calls about SEO, and I'm like, okay, like, how are we going to even determine if this is working? Yeah. Well, I'm going to get you 20 leads. Great. Well, like, all right. Well, like, yes, I could throw a Facebook ad out there for $5 a day and get 20 leads, but like, how quality are they? What's the plan? What am I going to be ranked on Google? And then if you start asking those questions, they come across someone who kind of knows SEO. I have no idea how to do it, but I know what it is. Then they go like, oh crap. Like,
I don't
there's so many SEO businesses out there that say they're going to put you on the first page of Google. And I'm always like, I'm not stupid. Like, I look at the first 10. Those are like billion-dollar companies. Like, I don't think my small company in Riverside is going to beat them. I'm not going to lie. I can have some honesty about it. So.
Oh, for sure. And that's the thing, that's what was kind of unique about what we did, because there's objective reasoning behind what we do solely for attorneys.
Yeah.
And I was excited because I didn't even know if it was going to work, right? I really didn't know if it was going to work. I'm like, I'm going to...
At least you're honest about it.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was going to work. But then once we started, cultivating, certain... I'm trying to say it without giving too much away. But once we started, recipeing it up for, if that's even a word, how it was going to work, and then we started soft testing it, through Google and stuff like that, we started getting back some really good traction. So when I go out to the attorneys, it's like, hey, this is different. It is proprietary because this is our science, right?
Yeah.
And we didn't really raise money, but I put a lot into it to where I don't want to say it's a race to the space, but if somebody were able to kind of get inside of the recipe, I can't really stop them either.
Yeah.
I don't think that they would completely wipe us out, but it would then create a competitor. And right now, we really don't have any.
See, that's the biggest thing is like sooner or later, the more time goes by, someone will figure it out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
happen.
that's why you got to get the momentum going.
Yeah.
So by the time that person does find out, it's like, all right, cool, but we're so much bigger and so much more powerful. We have way more momentum that we'll just crush you like a bug.
And that's what the goal is too, is because a lot of people, they'll label their innovation or they'll label their business or their content or service as proprietary. And it's not to rain on anybody's parade, but is it really proprietary or is it just a race to the space?
That's all it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's like what all these companies, I think that's what we're all doing is trying to race. I mean, you look at anything, even now, like with like electric cars, now that Elon kind of showed that it can work, now all the big factories are trying to race to who's going to have the longest truck, who's going to have the fastest car, who's going to have this. And now it's just a race to the best car possible.
Yeah.
You know I can waste no time, cause I gotta keep it tight. I'm in my bag, got my eyes on the price. You know I can waste no time, cause I gotta keep it tight. I'm in my bag, got my eyes on the price. You know I can waste no time, cause I gotta keep it tight. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me.
And you know what I mean? And it's like, it's the technology is, sooner or later, people are very smart. They'll figure it out.
Yeah, and it's kind of like the old saying, like anything that is, what is it? Anything that is true isn't new, and anything that is new isn't true. Something like that, something to that effect. But so it's a little bit of a race to the space, and we're honest about it. But so as far as like going out to firms, it's been more of people that I know. You know what I mean? And people where, or I shouldn't say people, but attorney firms where I kind of know their situation. So I even have my own client criteria in the sense like I need somebody mid-sized because if I take this to one of the big boys, they're going to wipe me out.
Yeah.
If I take it to one of the new guys, they don't have any money. You know what I mean?
You go to that space,
Yeah, so I kind of go to the people that the firms and the attorneys that I've worked with that I know that are in a position to where like they're busy enough, and it's kind of worked out like that to where they're busy enough to like, hey, if you guys can figure it out, I'll pay.
See, that's the thing is that not big enough where they have their own resources to figure it out and then they can just steal it from you. It's the middle guy that's like, I don't have the time, figure it out for me, do it, I can pay you. And then the front guy is like, they want you to do it for them, but they don't have the money to pay you.
Exactly.
It's so funny when people try to start a business. It's like, dude, you got to find the right customer because that's what sucks. You bring something they know can be duplicated. You bring it to the big boys, they're just going to slowly like, okay, cool. We learned it. All right, cool. Let's go hire someone to do it.
Yeah, and that's why we do certain sectors of law without giving too much away, but I'll just say the one that we don't do is personal injury. Yeah. Because personal injury, dude, there is anything, because that's what I noticed is that guys that did personal injury, they're all telling us the same stuff. And I'm like, dude, let's say we give you 5,000. Hell, let's say we give you 50,000. What's stopping one of these guys over there in West LA and Westwood or downtown LA or the West Side that have 30 attorneys? They're all bidding on the same thing. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing we're not going to compete with them. So that's kind of like how I was like, I'm going to start recipeing this thing up. You know, and seeing if I can come up with a little bit of my own science behind the legal side of it and then bring in a marketing guy. And it was a soft test, and the test came back really strong.
See, that's the problem. I worked for a tech company last year up in out of San Francisco, and they were a tech company that was trying to be a real estate company, but they know nothing about real estate. Yeah. So they try to bring stuff in, and it's like, that doesn't work. No, it does. It doesn't. I know it doesn't work. I've been doing this so long. I know that's not, a client will not like that or it will not work. And it's just like, that's the struggle. Is like when people try to come into an organization, it's like anyone who always says like, oh, realtors or these people are going to be replaced or that's going to be replaced. I'm like, okay, Zilla's going to replace all you guys. Okay, sure. That means you have no idea what we have to deal with at a 10 o'clock at night call when your mom, you're in escrow and someone died. And you're the first person to get a call at 10 o'clock at night. You think they're going to want to call someone and be put on a freaking recorder and then someone randomly calls them back from, nothing against it, but like someone calls you back from Texas or calls you back from overseas? No, they want you to show up tomorrow and be like, hey, what do? We have a dead body in the house. What's the next step? We just had this happen yesterday. Someone died and now the guy was a hoarder and it's like, all right, like how do we get this fixed? Like we need to sell this house now. It's like, okay, and the crew goes over there, all in-house people, like go handle it. Yeah. Like they don't want to call someone in Texas or in Florida to get that back?
There's certain businesses that you can't automate, like
No.
in the sense, and I've been seeing a lot of advertisement for that where like people they're like automating law firms. I'm like, how do you automate a law firm? And just like you're saying,
Yeah, it's same thing.
I'm dealing with unique circumstances, man.
Every deal is different.
Yeah.
And
Like,
everyone's emotion's different. And everyone, we talk about like love language or how people speak. It's like every person, type A, like who wants direct, who wants this, who wants that. Like that, I'm sorry, AI is a lot better than it used to be. But it will never be that good to be able to read. Maybe it will be. I'm not going to say it will. That can read someone's facial expressions or their tone of voice and know how to react to that person in that moment in time.
Yeah, and I was actually, and to make a hard turn here, hard pivot, it's like, I was even noticing like because I was watching some of your previous podcasts and you were like talking about like Zoom podcast versus the personal interaction.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more because when I've worked in firms and I've retained clients through electronic signature and through telephone, a phone consult, it can work because I'm coming with the energy. And I'm validating their suspicions and all that. It does work, but that client has a better chance of calling me prematurely for a status than if somebody I'm talking to for 45 minutes face to face.
I won't do Zooms.
It's when people are like absorbing the content. I'll be honest, love it or hate it, I'll watch a podcast where I see a really like eloquent or put together setup. Yeah. At least way more of a chance than if I'm going to watch two people on Zoom.
That's why I destroyed this room at the start of this year. It was just a table and foam, and I walked in one day. I was like, "This is not good." Yeah. I was like, "Who would watch this?" I was like, "This is terrible." Yeah. I ripped everything down, and they're like, "Why did you do that?" I'm like, "They're like, we're the only podcast in Riverside, I know, but I'm like, let's get better before people realize they should be doing these." Yeah. And then that's why it's like, okay, how do we do this? And then the next step is we got to. In hopefully a year, we're gonna build a full warehouse, 5,000 square feet. Oh, wow. Like multiple studios and multiple podcast rooms, a gym, and it's just going to be a space to level up even more, like shooting content for one, and then two, having a space where our clients can come and shoot their own stuff for free. Yeah. That's what they get from us. And then two, throw events and things and all be under one building. That's
would be really cool, man. And yeah, like I told you.
People are like, that's stupid. I'm like, okay, watch.
No. Right. Content is key.
Yeah.
Content is king right now.
Do you make your own? Do you make the content? Obviously, you're kind of pushing more content, but like, do you help your lawyers make content?
We're gonna get into that. I'm gonna raise a little bit more capital for that to where I can actually bring in somebody, because I don't want to reinvent myself. It's not that it's not like I have limited belief, because anytime you say that you don't want to do something, people always like label like, oh, well, you have limited belief in yourself. It's not that, dude.
And it's just, I'm smart.
I know what I know, and you know what I mean? And I'm not going to try to reinvent myself at 34 with all this experience and put this on the shelf for me to go learn how to do videography.
Well, it's like, and that's the number one way that's the number one way not to expand quicker. Yeah. Like, people hit me up, they're like, what mics do you use? I don't know. Call Adrian. What system do you? I have no idea. Call Adrian. Like, it's like the only reason I'm able to do all this stuff and shoot content and do these podcasts and run a company is because I have someone else. Yeah. I love when people are like, "Oh, I'm gonna figure out how to do Premiere." Good luck. I've stared at Premiere so many times, and then I do. He went to college, and he'll be like, "God dang!" Like, what? I'm like, "Oh, Premiere like froze or shut down," and he knows what he's doing. Yeah, I have no clue. Yeah, it's like, why waste that time? It's 100%. The people. It's like the problem is they don't make enough money in themselves, or they believe in themselves enough what they're doing to realize I can make enough money to go pay for someone else.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like I said, it's not limited belief. It's not laziness. It's like, dude, I've invested so much time in becoming a black belt in this. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I'm third degree in this. Yeah. And we're on a good track. So I'm going to continue to add people to the team to where I can, then it becomes a little bit more proprietary. Maybe not proprietary, but I'm going to have, more of a variety of services to offer to attorneys because the branding's so bad, because the video content is so bad. So we're going to get there eventually. Like I said, bringing the SEO guy was something that I did this year, because before it was just me. Like it was just me creating leads where I'm like, hey, this person needs a workers' comp attorney. This person needs a personal injury attorney, or they need an employment law attorney. And I would just send them the information, and then whether they sign them or not, I got paid for the lead. And now, and to your point, what you were talking about earlier, that's a little bit where the consulting comes in, in terms of teaching their staff how to do a proper intake. And I'm going to tell you right now, and I can tell this just based upon your enthusiasm. Yeah. 50% of it is energy.
Dude.
If you give people the energy, if you give them that validation, you confirm those suspicions, you're going to get a client.
Dude, I tell people all the time, you know what people want? And it's like they just want to be led and want someone to make all the hard decisions for them. And if you just go like, we got this, like this is what we're going to do, even when things are going south, if you just have a plan, people will follow the plan. They just want to be led. They just don't. They look at, why am I paying you? I'm paying you to handle all the bad. Like today, we had there's some issue with a deck, and then my agent called me. I'm like, okay, you need to call this person, this person. Why? I was like, we need to have a plan together, so then I can figure out what the best plan is before we tell the client. Because if we go to the client and say this is a problem, but we don't have a plan to fix it, they're gonna be pissed. They're gonna be pissed either way, but they'll be more pissed if we don't have like, hey, this has happened, but we're going to do this. And this is why this is the best decision. I think that's the thing, is you got to come in with so much, because you're catching these people at literally the worst, not the worst time of their lives, but in a scenario that they're obviously already unhappy with. Yeah. It's something that's messed up their life. And the sad part about it is lawyers and real estate people and all, there's a lot of bad eggs out there. Yeah, so they're already their guards up. And if they've had a bad scenario before, you got to fight even through that guard. Yeah. It's tough, man. Yeah,
and the biggest thing too is that I was talking to a friend of mine earlier this week. We were talking about transparency, and that's an element of what I try to teach these other paralegals in terms of like client retention. Is like, dude, give them confirm their suspicions. Tell them it's about the money.
Yeah.
Tell them it's about the money. Yeah. And most of the time you'll get a pretty good response. Once in a great while, if I get a personal injury client, or if you get a workers' comp client, if you get an employment law client, they're emotional, but very rarely will you get somebody say, oh, it's about my injury. And I'm not trying to discount the injury fact, and I'm not trying to add to already the preconceived notion about accident injury attorneys, but it does exist. So you might as well tell them that. You know, give them the energy. Tell them this is about the money. You already heard, I'm not a doctor. I can't fix that.
Yeah.
It will get you to a doctor, but transparency is key. And I just think that can be added, comprehensively to any business. But so yeah, that's an element of what we're trying to do too, is like, we're giving you leads, and if you want us to come in and I'll do the consulting too with your paralegals, teach them how to do a proper intake, and then eventually we're going to graduate over to starting to do social media for them and stuff like that too. So
it's always so funny to me when like why is it so wrong to say I'm doing this for the money? Like, you know what I mean? I never understand that. I always love when people are like, I'm here to help people. Like, no, if you would do it for free? No, you wouldn't. So it's the money. There's a guy named John Sheplack who's a really big coach in real estate, like really big. He works with like big dogs, and I've been at events with him, and he just goes like this: I'm here to make money. Yeah. I run a coaching program, so you're gonna get pitched a coaching program at the end of this. You can say no, that's fine. Yeah. That means I didn't bring enough value to you or you're just not in the position to be one of our clients, but be prepared to be pitched by the end of this. Yeah. And it's like the truth. It's like, thank you. Yeah. At least tell me, like, I know it's coming anyways. Yeah. Just tell me straight up. And it's like, there's not, and he even says like, we're all here to make money. Yeah. I'm teaching you things to go make more money. Yeah. So I should be compensated. 100%. It is what it is.
100%. And like that level of transparency will always get you really far with people, and like I said, I think it's adaptable to any business. But with what we do, it's like, and it alludes to what we were talking about earlier with, I should say, the statement that I made about attorney marketing being so bad. Like, dude, and if you're an attorney and you're watching, I'm sorry to say it, but like, dude, enough with the numbers thing. I got this. We settled $10 million this month. Dude, nobody cares. Look, okay. Do you remember back we're about the same age. Do you remember back in the '90s the Larry H. Parker commercial?
Oh yeah, dude. Larry Parker was like the man, dude. He's still, there's a billboard. I think he might be dead, because now the billboard I drive past at 60 is like a cartoon of him. Yeah. Like, I think he's gonna live on forever.
They're just gonna keep that same image. Is
he alive still?
I don't know. The other one is, I'm not sure if Larry H. Parker. It's called it's a completely different firm, but they kept like Larry H. Parker was really smart. He was like, I'm already branded. I don't know if you were retired, but he's like, I'm gonna basically create another firm. Mm-hmm. You guys can create another firm. Blah blah blah. So and so and so and so and so. Create another firm. And then I'm just going to streamline all my cases through me being Larry H. Parker. And I'm going to funnel them out to you guys. And then you guys just pay me up when the case is settled. But what I was saying is that, like, with Larry H. Parker branded himself. And you have this guy, and I don't want to sound insensitive, but you have the guy in the wheelchair, and he's like, Larry H. Parker got me $2.2 million. Mm-hmm. Dude, he was in a wheelchair. If you give me a solvent defendant And an injury of that magnitude, I'll get you $2.2 million, dude. Come on now.
That's like all the agents in the last 2 years be like, I sold a house over 50,000. I'm like, great, post that now.
Yeah, no.
Good luck.
Right? No, so it's like, so there's a lot of things that I think that are changing, but it speaks to the point of transparency. It speaks to the point of like, and I'll tell clients all the time, or, you know, a potential client as we call them, I'm not going to insult your intelligence, you know?
Yeah.
Like, dude, like,
people ain't dumb, dude.
Nah, man. And even like, I don't care what sophistication level of the client is. Everybody speaks green. Everybody speaks money. And I've never met a client to this day who is like, even if they were a little bit more ambitious about getting treatment, or if they, you know, it was a little bit more of you know, them defending their coworkers or whatever.
Yeah.
I've never said that. I've never seen them turn down the settlement. You know what I'm saying? So it's
dude. Well, that's the thing. It sucks, man. Like I always love, like, I think, like, you know, like dude, I listened to a podcast today with Ty Lopez, and I've never was a big Ty Lopez guy or whatever, but he did one the other day that was amazing, and he just talks about like the 4 periods of life and that you should keep balance or whatever, and he goes like, yeah, I have buddies that are billionaires and then the rest of their life sucks. And I have other people that literally, they have no money, but everything else is great. It's like, at the end of the day, you still need to make money.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like, I'm hurt. The only thing that's really going to make this better is the money.
It's the money, yeah.
There's nothing really going to, and then it's like, you might be hurt for the rest of your life. You don't know.
Yeah.
You have no clue.
And I actually really do feel like there is an empathetic factor for it. To it for me, in that, like, we do have clients that really get jacked up, and I do feel for them, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell them that, like, hey, this one, you know, it does hit home a little bit for me, but again, I got to navigate you to, you know, I got to navigate you, me, the attorney, we got to navigate you to get you paid.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, you know, that's the goal. And there is some injuries, man, not to bring the negative energy into it, but there is some injuries, man. Like, even if we get, I'm like, dude, even if we get you $5 million, man, even if we get you $10 million, it's not gonna.
What's it gonna do?
It's not gonna.
It's like when, like, you know, like the freak time. There's freak accidents like at Disneyland and someone dies. It's like, dude, they're gonna get a buttload of money, but like it doesn't bring that person back.
No.
So it's like there's a limit of, like, really, like, you'd rather not have the money.
No, and when you start dealing with things like eyesight and limbs, you know what I mean, and neurological injuries, like, dude, the money's not. It's only gonna do so much, but it's still better to have it, because even if you can, you know, increase your quality of life, you know, after the injury, subsequent to the injury,
At least something.
At least it's something,
Yeah.
man. You know, it's, you know.
So I like doing these podcasts because I think that you know, I feel like I say this every podcast, but I'm gonna say it again because I like doing it. It's like, I think there's so many people out there, especially in the Inland Empire, that like literally can bring so much value, but because we're not living in LA, people think, or from the OC, people think, like, you know, the stigma of, like, people don't know. But what kind of advice would you give? We obviously know, like, it's so hard for a brand new attorney to come out and make some money or figure out how to market and do everything. Cause, you know, I feel like that's like any small business is like all of a sudden you're everything and you're like, but I just want to do law, but you also have to do everything. What advice would you give to a brand new attorney or even a brand new business person right now? Marketing's marketing, to get kind of the wheel moving for them so they can get enough clients to hire you.
Yeah, it one start, you know, go with what you know. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't try to be something else, because it comes down to branding, right? I'm a branding guy. I'll pay money. I'm a guy, like, if I see something and you branded it the right way, I'll, even though I'm in quote unquote the marketing field, you can probably get me to buy something. You know what I'm saying?
That 130 Instagram ad gets me multiple times. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, go with what you know. Like, learn yourself and go represent. I've gotten so many clients from the IE because, honestly, man, I'm out here representing. Like, I'm from Riverside, and that was not the most popular thing to say for the longest time. I was like, oh, you're from Riverside?
Yeah, but Riverside's so many people.
So many people. The IE has so many people, and Riverside is like, I'm just going to go out and say it, you know, no disrespect to any other section, but Riverside, we're the capital.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, sure. We're the biggest, and we've been around the longest.
Yeah, and we have the best downtown, and that's going to be pretty hard to argue against, you know. So I branded myself and I leaned into myself, right? I come from a troubled youth. I come from a divided home. My father was incarcerated. I leaned into a lot of this stuff and went out and shook hands and branded myself as a guy. Like, hey, man, I'm from the same streets as you are, but I went and got, you know, did my collegiate thing, and I went. So all that to my point, not to make it about me.
Yeah.
But if you're a new attorney, take time, fall in love with learning. And learn yourself and create your brand off of what feels good to you to represent to other people. Because a lot of the times I'll see, like, guys who are not, like, bro, like they'll be like, I'm a fighter, and I'm just like, no, you're not, dude. Like you're not, and that's okay. Like, People, so there's gonna be some people that don't resonate with somebody who's combative or somebody who's super aggressive. Like, go with what you know. Make your money work for you. You know what I'm saying? And brand yourself, but brand yourself with something that resonates to you and that is truly an accurate image of who you are in the mirror.
Well, I think that's the thing is people want to work with the people just like them. And it is very hard to fake it. That's why like people are like, oh, do you do like pop buys and drop by your client's house and drop off like brownie recipes? I'm like, nah, it's just not my brand. Like that's not who I am. So if I tried to go do that, it would be off brand and it just would be weird and it's fake for me. And it's like, maybe that would get me maybe a handful of more referrals, but it's like, that's so hard to keep up. I don't think people are like, it's so hard to keep up fakeness that it's like, you got to plan on doing this forever. Like, so if you're putting out something that's not you, you're diving into a brand that's not existing.
You might relate to this too, because like dealing with a business around the clock, right? Like you have to be on. You know what I mean? Like it goes to the point of like energy, right? Your potential client, your current client. When you're dealing, especially something like house or real estate, there is a very there's a large emotional charge to that situation for sure. So when you come in and you're like, hey, what's up? Yeah, like it's going cool. That's not gonna cut it, dude. You know what I mean? So you got to come with a little bit of energy. So if you have to be on, remember who you are in that on phase is what people are going to want all the time.
Which it backfires on me because some people will catch me when I'm not on. Like I've had people roll through the office to grab something, like I've offered something for free. And like I've had people leave and they're like, yeah, you weren't like who I thought you were going to be. And I'm like, dude, you watched me for like when I'm on. I'm doing like a million other things. I'm just not here to dance for you right now. And I think that's also the hard part. It's like, dude, when I'm off, like I'm off. Like it's like you have to realize like it takes so much energy to be like to do this, and then I got to go jump on a call at 12, so in a few more minutes, and then go do something else, and then I got to be on camera. It's like that takes so much energy. So maybe you catch me at 8:30, and I'm like in downtown, and I just don't have that like, what's up, dude? Like let's go. Like and they're like, oh, I thought you'd be different. It's like, yeah, I know, dude. It's hard to keep up.
Yeah, and that's to my point. So it's like who you're going to brand yourself to the general public, because you are gonna. I have moments like that where and clients come to the office and after they've already talked to me on the phone, particularly if they've never met me, they're like, hey, why? They'll even ask me because I've created such a personal connection with them. Like, hey, are you okay, man? Something going on? Like, like, no, I mean, Dude, I had an 8:30 conference, a 1:30 conference, a 2 p.m. depot. Like, it's just been a long day.
Hot water heater's done at my house right now. We got this going on. It's Christmas next week. I have no idea if I'm getting gifts for anyone. Like, and, we're trying to figure out our business plan for next year. You know what, man? It's so great to talk to a marketer because it's something different that people do not process. And I think the biggest mistake people make is they want to become a lawyer or a doctor. Maybe not doctor, lawyer, real estate, small business owner. At the end of the day, you have to figure out marketing.
Yeah.
And then because if you don't market well, it doesn't matter how great your product is. It's never going to sell.
That's why I think out of every element, like there's guys that actually went to college for marketing. Like my marketing is more like what I've seen work, like my knowledge and what I speak confidently to the point of marketing is running law firms. Like I can't really speak too much like the SEO and cost per click and social media ads, stuff like that. But I do know what it's like to take I've started 2 law firms from the ground up, right? And I'm 34 now, so we must be, and they're both doing well and in business. So we must have done something right. And by and large, it was creating the brand. So I said all that to say, if you're a business, I think the most important element of marketing is branding.
It is.
And a lot of people, and I'm seeing, especially in Downtown Riverside, man, I'm loving what I'm seeing in Downtown Riverside because I'm seeing like we're really branding businesses out here. And the podcast, this helps tremendously because you've had people on the show too who are like, I've been to these businesses. Like I've been to the brewery across the street countless times. And that guy was hella cool. You know what I mean? I'm going to tap in there again just because, But anyways, branding is like super important. So yeah, it's you got to have the branding. You're always going to have marketing, and you should be trying to spend the least amount of on marketing that you can because really it's money just to get money.
Exactly.
So if you can figure out a good brand, if you can pump yourself out the right way, that's going to save you a lot of money on doing actually like paid advertisement and stuff like that.
Yeah, love it. How's the best way that people get a hold of you?
Instagram, man. Right now, Instagram for sure. It's at Sammy, SAMMY_VSE. And just tap in, man.
Send him a DM. He'll take care of you.
100%.
Dude, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for coming out. And I had a great time. So
appreciate it, man.
Until next time, guys. Peace.